Ladies and gentlemen, welcome tonight to another edition of NASCAR 06 Total Team Control on the channel. And this evening we have another Cup Series custom schedule season race for you. Race number 11 of 36 on the custom schedule season at yet another fantasy road course track at the Devil's Canyon Speedway for the running of the Tumbleweed 300. A racetrack built into the Grand Canyon. NASCAR's doing a bunch of new stuff here over these last couple of years, and also seems that way in the progressing future and schedule releases, especially in the Cup Series side of things. Could you imagine if they actually pulled this one off? But needless to say, that's where we're racing tonight. Like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as we get into tonight's full race live stream, realistic commentary coverage. We're on the video game side tonight. Tomorrow, I'll be doing live commentary for the Martinsville NASCAR Cup Series race, the round of 8 elimination race, the penultimate race of the NASCAR Cup Series season. It's going to be a fun one tomorrow. I can't wait to bring you guys the action there. As far as tonight goes, you can see the point standings at the top of the screen. It is a deadlock tie between two Robert Yates Racing Fords, Elliott Sadler and Dale Jarrett, with Jeff Gordon and Mike Bliss also within 5 points of the points lead. 5 points separate the top four coming into the 11th race of the season, and still only 109 points separate first through 11th. That is within one race worth of points, and our driver Greg Biffle, following a DNF in the Coca-Cola 600 2 nights ago, will be coming into tonight's race in that 11th place spot outside the top 10 in points for just the second time this season, and the first time since, of course, finishing 42nd in the Daytona 500. 3 DNFs to the first 10 races, trying to right the wrong. Biff will be starting on the outside of the front row tonight, and he missed out on the pole by just 12 one-thousandths of a second to none other than Scott Wimmer, who is, to Ricky Rudd rather, in the 21 car. Rudd on the pole for the first time this season. Green flag is in the air. We're underway, and we are road course racing at the Grand Canyon. 150 laps. It's going to be a long one, but a good one here tonight. Billy Kramer, thanks for tuning in. We've got the Subway paint scheme back. Love this scheme. With Greg Biffle getting a bit arrow loose that time from Ryan Newman in the 12. That was probably the trickiest corner for me in practice and qualifying too, a little bit on the warm-up lap. First time I've had a car behind me though, so at least I know for the future it's going to take air off the rear spoiler. Long road course race once again, as most of these fantasy road courses have been. Greg Biffle trying to go for the lead on the opening lap off the final corner as he's side by side with Ricky Rudd as they work their way to the start-finish line. Rudd throws a block and will lead the lap opening this race from the pole. True Assassin 86X, thanks for tuning in also. Biffle with the dive into turn one, trying to get underneath Rudd this time, not wasting any time whatsoever right now, but this is a very narrow race course. And it is going to be very, very difficult for these guys to try to make it lap after lap, corner after corner. A lot of precision. Biffle going hard. He wants to get back into the top 10 in points and potentially top 5 in points if all goes well. He was third in points going into yesterday's race, 36 out of first. Or sorry, 2 nights ago's race in the last race of the Coke 600. Ended up unfortunately DNFing. And the guy who turned him in that race was Ricky Rudd. So he's not going to be cutting Rudd any slack right now. Side by side to the start-finish line, and Ricky Rudd's going to lead this lap by inches. Got a little bit better exit off the banking of that last corner. Rudd DNF'd Greg Biffle. Biffle remembers that. Him and Jimmy Johnson going to have a little bit of a bloodbath today, potentially. Sliding those rear tires a bit. Ryan Newman going to overdrive the corner. And so did Greg Biffle. Newman to the inside. Biffle protects. And side by side now into the chicane. And Biffle's going to hold on to second place on Newman through the chicane. Tiny Gibbs, thanks for tuning in. Not going to read the rest of that. Mark DeMars, Derek Booth, also welcome into the stream. Again, Biffle looking low on Rudd. Can't get around him. Track position is going to be big today. It's a good thing Greg Biffle qualified second. I did not get to watch the Xfinity race today, unfortunately. Being at work. It might still be on. I don't think it is. You have to let me know if it is or not. Biffle pushing hard. Oh, got it in the back of Rudd, and Ryan Newman gets into the back of Greg Biffle, who's going to lock it up. Luckily, most of the field was able to miss it, except for Tony Stewart. He kind of got turned when Biffle was getting out of it. Ricky Rudd might have brake checked Greg Biffle. I don't know what that was. It's like he came to a stop in the middle of the corner. And Greg Biffle ended up spinning out off the back bumper, really, of Rudd's race car. Ryan Newman then got into the back of Biffle as Biffle got sandwiched in there. And we've got our first caution of the race. Did not take long. Definitely playing on it, Mark. Green flag back in the air. A little bit of damage on the right rear corner panel of Biffle's car. That's from Ryan Newman. Newman's got some damage on the front of his car. Ricky Rudd might have just brake checked Greg Biffle. Dale Jarrett, points leader, going for third on Newman. What a breakout season he has had thus far. Definitely competing for the championship. Biffle not happy with Ricky Rudd right now. Slams into the braking zone. Runs into the side of Rudd. And he is not going to give that 21 car an inch. And he pitches him up into the wall. And Biffle's going to have the lead for the first time today. Jarrett the second. Rudd's all the way back to third. Nearly 3 wide, exiting the chicane with Dale Jr. He clears him on the outside. Jeff Gordon looking underneath both of them. Biffle wasn't having it anymore with Ricky Rudd after getting turned and DNFing in the Coke 600 and then that brake check going into the corner before that. Biffle's going to make sure he got by him for the lead. 5 bonus points for Biffle leading his first lap of the race now. Lap number 9. Another race in which we've seen an early caution today. Biffle going to try to put some time on these cars behind him. It's going to be difficult, considering he does have damage on the right rear corner panel. We're not sure exactly how long the fuel window is going to be here. We'll have to wait and see. Hey, Torres, thanks for tuning in. About a half a second lead between Biffle and Jarrett right now. Biffle tried to get back to his winning ways. Hasn't won since the 4th race of the season, so it's been 7 races since his final victory. Most recent victory. Still sitting with the most wins this year. 3 for him, 2 for Mark Martin, and everybody else with a win. We have 5 drivers with 1 win on the year. Mostly Fords have been dominating this season. Only 2 non-Ford drivers have won. Ryan Newman, Tony Stewart. 8 wins for Ford, 1 for Chevy, 1 for Dodge in the first 10 races. Missed racing on fantasy tracks. This was definitely one of my favorite. This and Speedway Boulevard were probably my 2 fantasy road courses I liked the most when I was growing up. So I couldn't wait for tonight's race. Ryan Newman still putting a lot of pressure on Dale Jarrett. Biffle got a little loose going into the chicane that time. Trying to hang on to his rear tires, at least just a bit. Biffle's car is definitely getting a little on the loose side of things with the damage on the right rear corner panel. We'll definitely have to keep an eye on it and monitor as we progress further and further into this race. We're only on lap 12, so still not a lot of laps on these tires. Again, the damage was from Ryan Newman after Ricky Rudd brake checked Greg Biffle going into turn 3. Which brought out our opening caution of the race a few laps in. Alternate through the different camera angles for the first time in the race today. .3-second lead. Biffle slowly pulling away. It took him a few laps after taking the lead, but once that battle for second got a little heated, or at least more interesting at that, between Jared and Newman. Jared's still holding on to second, but more worried about trying to fend off the 12 and the rest of the field behind him while the 16 pulls away further up towards the front. Got to keep this track position at all costs. We saw how hard it was for Biffle to pass Ricky Rudd. It took that restart to get around him, and he was able to do so. Biffle just ran his fastest lap so far of the race, 54.449 that last lap. A 300-mile road course race tonight. A road course that is about 1.5 miles in length. Make that 2 miles. 2 miles in length. Hence the 150 lap difference. Distance, rather. $68-0 opening round district playoffs. Jeez. A playoff game they won by that much? They must be one of the favorites to win it all. It's pretty cool, though. Local team for you. Trying to win a state title. How's the game working out? So far this race, I mean, we had one caution early, but things are spacing apart quite a bit right now. There was a wreck in practice when I was actually practicing it, and I think it took place going into the chicane. I didn't see it happen, but I saw the smoke from the aftermath of it, and I saw a very damaged Kenny Wallace race car. Yeah, a lot of damage on the front and the back, and he was up in smoke nursing it to pit road, so I don't know what happened there. 61-0 at halftime. Jeez, little Pete. That's insane. Yeah, they're going to be tough to beat. Ty Gibbs needs a lesson from Tony Stewart. Tony's all about teaching those young guys lessons. That SRX race he had with Ernie Francis Jr. Bringing him by the collar. Pointing at him, yelling at him. Even though I didn't think that was Ernie Francis's fault, he was just trying to avoid an accident. I don't know why Tony got so bad. Go to the in-car cam for a few laps now. 54.401 that last lap for Biffle, his fastest of the day. Lap 17 of 150 right now. These laps clicking by just under a minute on this 2-mile road course. Biffle might not have qualified on the pole and qualified in second to Rudd, but he's got a fast car tonight. If Ricky Rudd's going to have any sort of shot to win this race, Biffle's going to make sure he doesn't do it after Rudd had wrecked him in the Coke 600, and that's why Biffle used the bump and run on the restart to get by him. Keegan McPants, thanks for tuning in also. 54.367 that last lap, so Biffle just kind of getting quicker and quicker and quicker. I hope you can take care of your tires, though, well enough if you are the Biff. That's going to be the next thing. Dude, I also hate... Everybody's coming at me today with Ty Gibbs hatred questions. I did not get to see the Xfinity race, but it sounds like he was in the wrong by most people's justification. Now, starting next season, I'll be able to do live commentary for truck and Xfinity races every weekend, so be on the lookout for that. I'll have a schedule change at my work. There's a chance I might be going part-time next year to do YouTube a little bit more, depending on how everything works out this off season with ad revenue and stuff. So, with what I have planned for video purposes, got some fun stuff planned this off season. So, even though NASCAR season's about to an end here in another week and a half, still want to join in for obviously this stuff during the week as far as the streaming aspect of it, but plan on doing some special Thursday night streams, non-video game related, and then also doing some reaction videos of older NASCAR stuff as well. So that'll be every Monday. I'll be doing reactions every Monday during the NASCAR season, just reacting to a bunch of old stuff, and then on Thursdays we'll be doing a Throwback Thursday stream where during the off season I'll be live streaming old Daytona 500s. We'll have a little watch along of old Daytona 500s leading up to the 500 this year. And then during the season, we'll do Throwback Thursdays of watching old races of whatever track they're going to that weekend. So if they're going to like Las Vegas, we'll watch an old Vegas race. So we'll do that on Thursdays starting in the off season. So not next week, but the week after, we'll start doing that. Both of those things. So try to branch out, do new things with the channel, and bring you guys some fun content along the way. Let me know down in the chat if you're getting excited for it just by me saying stuff about it. Yeah, we're just consistently getting quicker and quicker. Not that lap, I dropped about a 10th. Probably talk a little too much. 2001 Daytona 500. I would actually like to watch that as one of them. It's not going to be the first one, though. Because the race itself was one of the better Daytona 500s maybe ever, up until that casualty on the final lap. I don't know. The only reason I don't want to do it is just because of that, and I wonder if I could just watch like an edited version where it doesn't actually show the crash. Which people are going to... I could see during the stream people are going to be like, oh, why didn't you show it? Well, I didn't want to show it because for one, I might get demonetized showing a guy dying on my stream, and then another, even though it already happened. But two, I mean, for younger audiences, it's probably better they don't see that. Just go pro. Hey, the idea is obviously to do that, commentating. But I gotta build my resume. Excited for more KRC channel content, yeah. I still like doing this stuff, and I will still continue to do these video game streams, but I'm gonna cut back on it a little bit just to accommodate for some other stuff for the channel. And then next season when we start, we'll be doing, like I said, live commentary for Truck Xfinity and Cup races every weekend that I don't go to the track. And most of the races I go to, I only go to the Cup race, so good chance, you know, I'll still be doing like Truck and Xfinity streams, whether it's like the night before I leave or, you know, at the hotel like I did with Portland with the Xfinity race. That's why I wanted to test that earlier this season. Go to the hood cam for right now. Lap 23. And a 4.8 to 4.9 second lead for Biffle as he's really pulling away from the field. Ethan, also welcome to the stream. Patrick Shadowly, thanks for tuning in. I do want to watch the night. That might be one of the first ones. I'm thinking 98, 99, or 2002. And I'll actually have you guys vote every week. On Wednesdays, I'll have a community tab poll for the races I'm thinking of watching, and then I'll have you guys vote amongst them. But those are kind of the three I'm looking at, because those are probably some of my favorites of all time. I actually haven't watched the 98 500 from start to finish. I've watched the 99 and 02 from start to finish, like rewatching them, and I thought those were like great races. Especially the finish of 99, that was insane. Before the double yellow line rule, and you had Jeff Gordon like going down to the apron and make 3 wide passes going into turn 3 with lap cars, and it was absolutely insane watching them do that. Some edge of your seat stuff, and then the fact that they all held on too, and they didn't wreck coming to at all in the finish with all that happening. It's insane. 2002 was just a chaotic one. Entertaining at that, though. Getting that underdog winner, of course, as well. 1969. Fortunately, I can't watch that one. They don't have flag to flag. I think it'd be cool to watch the 79, though. The first flag to flag one. I don't think I've ever watched that one from start to finish. That's such a historic race for many reasons, too. I have no clue what went on in that race other than the finish, to be completely honest. Other than the last lap or two, I have no clue what happened in the 79 500. So I am kind of curious to go back and watch it. But yeah, that's some of the stuff I have planned. I'll mention more about it, of course, during the stream tomorrow. It means it's the last live commentary stream. I'll have more people watching when I remake the announcement. Caution's out for the second time today at lap 26 as Biffle was getting into turn 1. And we'll see where it's at on the racetrack. And it was in that final corner, it looked like Scott Wimmer into the wall. Might have gotten turned by Jamie McMurray. We'll have to take another look. I don't have the greatest camera angle of this. I think it's because of the cave. But anyway, it looked like McMurray and Wimmer got together. Wimmer up into the outside wall pretty hard. Greg Biffle going to stay out of the pits. He's going to keep his track position. And it sounds like everybody behind him hit pit road, so this is going to be interesting. Biffle wanted to keep the track position, though. I can't blame him for that. Green flag going to be back in the air. Make that lap 30 on the restart as they get to the start-finish line. Little contact with Ryan Newman, who tried to go to the outside of Greg Biffle. Newman put a lot of pressure on Biffle. I'm surprised he tried to go to the outside, and Biffle ended up making a bit of contact with him, and now the open lane is on the bottom for Jarrett. But I guess with Newman having fresher tires, he could probably afford to try to make that desperation move to the outside. But we'll see if the track position's going to matter a little bit more, which it may. Jarrett, Newman still side-by-side for second. Earnhardt and Gordon side-by-side for fourth. And back to the start-finish line. Biffle will lead the opening lap after the restart. So 2 cautions in the first 30 laps of today's race. Greg Biffle is currently a race leader. He had about a 6.8 second lead before the caution came out the second time. And Ricky Rudd led the first few laps of the race today. From the pole, nowhere to be found in the top 5 anymore. Biffle's led every lap since taking the lead on that first restart of the race. He's halfway on fuel at this point in the run, but really, not that I don't have faith in my pit crew, but want to do whatever I can to keep the track position, because even if I only lose a couple spots, it was so hard to get around Rudd. It took a restart pulling the bump and run on him. The only reason I was that desperate to get to the lead on him that much, roughing him up, was because of what happened in the 600. 1981 Daytona 500. See what happens and how it led to the finish. I'm trying to think of who won in 81. Oh, was that the Pearson Petty? Was that the Pearson Petty finish when they were crashing and they were in the infield and they were pushing Petty's car across the line and Pearson won? Or I don't know what year that was, but maybe that was the finish. That might not have been 81. Other than that, I'm trying to think of what 81? Who won in 81? I can't remember that far back because I wasn't alive at that time. Like, a lot of the 90s I know just off statistical purposes. But a lot of those drivers I still grew up watching, though, too. The guys from the 80s, like Darrell Waltrip, and, you know, the Yarborough, the Allison family, like, I didn't get to watch those guys growing up, so. Pearson, Petty, obviously. Richard Petty, but yeah, I didn't get to watch those guys. Dale Sr. I was too young to remember Dale Sr. We remember briefly of like watching the end of Jarrett Wallace and trying to think who else career-wise. Martin, obviously. 76 was Pearson Petty. Gotcha. Petty on fuel mileage in 81. Gotcha. Yeah, there's definitely some I'd like to go back and watch. There's some that I haven't rewatched, but obviously it's been a long time since I've like watched it, just because of how long ago it was. So we'll watch some for sure. I think I have to. I've kind of looked into it to not get copyrighted for it. I think I have to watch races from either 2015 or 2016 on back. I think it's like the last 7 years or something. For whatever reason, it'll copyright me if I try to watch something within the last 7 years. Back to the far chase cam for right now. Lap 35. I know the plan is for Greg Biffle to stay out of the pits for quite some time. And he'll go as far as he can before he does pit. Until then, though, a little bit of a loose moment getting into the chicane. He's able to correct it pretty well. These tires pretty old on the 16 car right now, but we'll take our first field pass of the race today. We get to the start-finish line this time by. And with this first field pass, we'll go to Kurt Busch in the 97 car first, as Biffle's got about a 2.1 second lead on the field. And Kurt is back in the 20th place position right now, running mid-pack. And about 6.2 seconds off the race lead. Backing up turn 1 quite a bit. I don't even know if I want to make any passes, because I feel like I might wreck if I try to. I could not get around Dale Jr. in practice without making contact with him. It is so hard to pass. I don't even know what really the best area of the racetrack to pass on is. Maybe, yeah, turn 1, you would think? Just because that long straightaway. Get a nice run in the draft, pull out a line late. Probably your best bet, but it still wasn't easy. Busch pulling alongside the 77 of Quaffle, but Quaffle throws a block at about the start-finish line. Trying to keep Kurt Busch at bay behind him. Kurt trying to make the pass in turn 1 underneath Quaffle. Not going to be able to do so. Kurt sliding those tires quite a bit. See Carl Edwards just a few positions ahead of Busch. Busch underneath Quaffle trying to make the pass, and it looks like he'll complete it for 19. So Kurt Busch will make a pass. Took about a lap and a half to get around 77. A lot of 2x2 racing ahead of Kurt Busch going into the chicane there. Rusty Wallace, Kyle Busch side by side. Kurt into the back of Rusty. And 3 wide now off the exit of the front stretch. Wallace in the middle. And Kurt Busch is going to throw a block on the front stretch, and he has cleared the 2 of Rusty Wallace and now sits behind his brother Kyle Busch. And looks underneath Kyle into turn 1. Took a peek. No passes made. He'll fall back in line in front of Kurt. Rusty Wallace, rather. I keep saying Kurt because it's the 2, and I'm racing as Kurt Busch. They checked up to keep it off of Kyle that time through 3 and 4. Into this final corner, Kurt Busch on the inside of Kyle Busch. Door to door are the Busch brothers as they battle for position. One more lap. We'll swap to yet another Roush driver in the field. Kurt Busch going to outbrake Kyle, having the advantage down low on the bottom, and he'll make the pass. Casey Kane, Jimmy Johnson side by side in front of Kurt Busch now. Looking to make a pass. Oh boy, 3 wide at the Devil's Canyon. This is going to be an aggressive move from Kurt Busch. And they're still 3 wide as they head for the chicane now. And Kurt Busch can outbreak everybody. What a move by Kurt Busch. He made that cleanly, and now he's in the top 15. And looking to pass the 15 car of Michael Waltrip for 14th place, heading into the final corner. And also got to get alongside of Jeremy Mayfield, it looks like, but he can't stay alongside of him in a pull-in line right in front of Waltrip. We'll go to Matt Kenseth in the 17 car next. A little bit further up the way in 11th. That was a great set of passes, though. That 3-wide pass by Kurt Busch to do it without contact was very impressive from the former and defending champion. Tony Stewart, a little bump and run in turn 1 on the 21 car of Ricky Rudd. He's bumped down a line. Kenseth trying to make a pass on Harvick. It got very narrow there, and Kenseth backed out of it, played it smart. Biffle still holding on to the lead out there. 40 laps complete at the start-finish line this time by. Again, everybody pitted under the caution except for race leader Greg Biffle, who was in the lead. We didn't get to see what the cars behind him were doing until it actually... Caution had already taken place, and obviously pit lane open. Cars decided to basically do opposite of the leader. They have their agenda. Biffle's got his. Harvick on the inside of Rudd trying to make a pass. Kenseth trying to stay close behind the 29 so he can try to follow him past the 21 of Rudd. Harvick has cleared Ricky Rudd. Kenseth got to clear Rudd as well now and also get underneath Kevin Harvick. So it wasn't a 3-wide pass for Kenseth, but he has passed 2 cars this lap, and he's up to 9. Now he closes on the 20 car of Tony Stewart. Dive bombs into the corner. Into the cave. A little contact with Stewart. Up the track he goes. And Kenseth now side by side with points leader Dale Jarrett for 7th place. Tony Stewart drafting off Kenseth. Down on the bottom. Thought Stewart was going to potentially go 3 wide. He thought better of it. Still a little early for that. Kenseth has cleared Dale Jarrett. Big block by Mike Bliss. Bliss trying to go for 9 straight top 10s today and currently is in 6th. And trying to fend off Matt Kenseth. Not going to do it. Kenseth to P6 now. All clear. Into the bus stop. Greg Biffle's still out there. Kenseth looking low. I can't even tell who that is. Oh, it's Jeff Gordon. Gordon with an alternate paint scheme. Kenseth going to get around him for a spot. We'll go to Mark Martin in the 6. He's a little bit further behind. He's back in 32nd at lap 43. And he's on the outside right now of Boris Said. Said road course ringer. Martin clears him into turn 1. Quickly pulls to the inside of Jimmy Spencer. So the other 4 Roush cars inside the top 15. Martin, though, back... He's just outside the top 30. Fights his way by Jimmy Spencer for 30th. And Mark's got a long ways to go. He's won 2 road courses this season. Watkins Glen and the Talladega road course. Infield layout. The Roval, if you would. And Mark Martin is trying to take advantage of this race as well. With being on a road course. He's further back, though, in the pack. Trying to get track position one way or another. A little contact with Kenny Walls. Same quarter Scott Wimmer and Jamie McMurray crashed with contact earlier. Martin with a block, though, and he hangs on to 27th at the start-finish line and looking to get around Jeff Burton in the 31. And into turn 1, Martin is going to make the pass with ease. As Kenny Walls behind him overruns the corner. Martin got a little loose on the apron up into the 01 of Nemechek. He made the pass. I'll tell you what, Mark Martin's car is a lot looser than the other ones, and that's probably why he's as far back in the running order compared to the other Roush Fenway cars. Contact with Brian Vickers probably didn't help too much. More contact with him now. William Albright, thanks for tuning in. Talking about Ty Gibbs as well. I did not get to see it. It sounds like I missed something. Something kind of important. See a green car, most likely Edwards or Labonte, yep. Yeah, they're like the only 2 green cars in the field. Martin kind of sliding into the chicane a bit, but made the pass for position. And Greg Biffle will pit from the lead at lap 45. He'll give it up. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. now out in front for the first time today. Again, Greg Biffle did not pit during the second caution when everybody else did. Nobody pitted during the first yellow. So Mark Martin up to 19th. With that being said, one more lap with Mark, and then we'll swap to either Carl Edwards. Actually, we would have to swap to Carl Edwards next. He's the only one we haven't used in our first field pass of the race. So Biffle has kept his track position. He's on a different pit strategy right now. He'll be pitting a bit longer into this next run again. It'll be interesting to see if we get a caution before that. Still picking up spots. Gets by Kyle Busch. A little contact. Casey Kane. Knocked him up the track just a bit. We'll be battling for 17th at the start-finish line as we'll go to Edwards in the 99. Edwards in 11th. Just outside the top 10 right now. Kurt Busch up a couple spots from where we last saw in 12th. Is there even a crowd here? I haven't really noticed if there is or not. Kurt Busch has a run on Edwards, though, I'll tell you that much. Ricky Rudd's still holding on to a top 10 position right now in 10th. He's got the rookie Carl Edwards pressuring him from behind. Edwards trying to go for his second win of the season. Won at Texas in a 50% race. For his first career win. He'll get by Ricky Rudd in that finishing corner. And now Edwards is in the top 10. So if the caution comes out, the field pits. Biffle will likely stay out. That means he'll be the leader. So the track position isn't bad by any means for Biffle right now. He's just on a different strategy. And he's got clean air to run with those fresh tires as well, so I don't think he's complaining about that. Oh, man, Edwards into the wall, got sucked against the guardrail. And that allowed Ricky Rudd to get by on the outside in turn 4. Same corner Biffle had a problem with earlier in the race. He got in the back of Rudd when Rudd brake checked him. Big dive by Edwards. Barely kept it off the 21, but was aggressively side drafting him in the middle of the corner. 2 more laps with Edwards. We'll go back to Greg Biffle once again. And back around Rudd in turn 1 for 10th again. Edwards definitely has a run on Dale Jarrett. Looking low. Side by side into the chicane. 99-88. Nobody giving an inch. No contact. And Edwards will complete the pass for 9th place into the cave. Now trying to close on Kevin Harvick in the 29 car. Tony Stewart underneath Mike Bliss for position. Harvick left a lot of bottom open, but Edwards just wasn't quite close enough to try to make the pass. So drafted line behind him as he works himself back up to 4th gear on the main straightaway. 54.305 that last lap for Edwards, his fastest of the day. Going to try to outbrake Kevin Harvick into turn 1 as he squeezes to the bottom. A bit of contact. Harvick falls back just a bit, now locks the tires up and loses more ground in turns 2 and 3. Watch out for falling rock. Yeah, there should be like signs. They should have like netting up where the rocks are, you would think. Keep these drivers safe. I want to see somebody flip down the side of the canyon. We've seen a lot of flips in recent races in this game. If we're going to see one today, I hope somebody just flips over the guardrail. There's no catch fence here. There are seats, I guess, right there. I think those are the only seats around this racetrack. Was not able to go 3 wide underneath Harvick and Stewart. Probably better that that was the case. And we'll go back to Greg Biffle in the 16 car. He was in 42nd. There is one car out of the race right now. I'm not sure who. But somebody's out 50 laps in. Dale Jr. still out in the lead. It's going to be interesting, though, as far as the strategy goes, if Biffle can lead the most laps, because Jr. is going to be leading for quite some time before he has to pit. And that second caution came out at lap 26. We restarted at lap 30. So only about 20 laps on fuel have been used by the drivers that haven't pit under green yet. Again, Biffle the only one that has. And Greg Biffle is 34.5 seconds off the race lead right now. I'd say Biffle's probably got the fastest car in the field today. So him on probably about, what, 15, about exactly 15 to 16 lap fresher tires and clean air. He's going to take advantage of this. Really try to put some distance on the field. I wouldn't doubt that he's going to catch the back of traffic before they even hit pit road again. Again, depending on if we stay green long enough for Biffle to be able to do that in the first place. That's how Biffle wins. Everyone flips off the canyon. That would be something, I'll tell you that much. About a 33.2 second differential between first and 42nd, which is where Dale Jr. and Greg Biffle are running approximately. Though in about 2 to 3 laps, Biffle's already picked up about 1.3 seconds on Earnhardt. So he's about 4/10 a second a lap quicker on these 15 to 16 lap fresher tires with clean air versus the clean air car that is leading the race on those older tires of Dale Jr. Biffle's definitely making up some time. See, to turn one in the last corner. I don't know why I haven't noticed them in turn one. Oh yeah, there they are. It's kind of weird there isn't any by the start-finish line. I guess it's kind of like Road America. Well, I can't remember. There might be some near Road America's start-finish line. It's not like right on the start-finish line though. It's kind of strange. We're getting a little slideways again there. So it sounds like there's somebody that DNF'd, and the only car that has had any sort of engine issues today is coming back into the race. Oh boy. It's been a fairly calm one for the most part. Got a couple sporadic cautions, but I'll take that. We're at least getting some racing in. Feels like it's been a while on the channel since we've been able to do that. It doesn't matter whether it's NASCAR 22 or NASCAR 06. Oh, you're in Martinsville this weekend. Awesome, man. Enjoy the races. Kind of stinks the trucks aren't there this year. In the fall, at least. I usually go there twice a year. For both races, but only the fall this year. Or only the spring, rather. Not in the fall. I'll tell you what, that damage on the right rear corner panel from Ryan Newman in the opening laps, definitely not affecting this 16 car. It seemed to at first. Now he's got fresh tires back on the race car, though. It's not affecting him in a negative way, at least. Car's a bit looser, but loose fast if he can hang on to it. For the most part, Biffle's hanging on to it pretty well. At least I think. First weekend off in a while, man. Enjoy the races tomorrow too. Got 15 likes on the stream right now. Be sure to hit that like button. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you haven't already. You're watching the Tumbleweed 300 live on KRC tonight. Oh, you're going to Phoenix. Awesome, man. Oh, if you see me out there, say hi. Be out there all weekend. Definitely want to try to get around in at TPC Scottsdale while I'm there also. Considering I don't know when I'll be back to Phoenix again. Oh, got a slow car down on the bottom of the racetrack right now. Couldn't tell if that was the 178 car, which would have been a fantasy driver, or if it would have been Jimmy Spencer. But that's a spot for Greg Biffle, and hopefully that car can get to pit road. and not have an accident. But he is very slow. You know, this is going to be a bit of a risk. Greg Biffle's going to hit pit road this time. He is going to hit pit road in case we get a caution. As Ryan Newman and Dale Jr. are battling for the lead, so Biffle's slowing down. He's going to try to top off on fuel. He'll take 4 fresh tires. He has hit the commitment line, so a quick stop for Greg Biffle going unscheduled just in case we get a caution with that slow car. This is going to be a brilliant strategy call if we get a caution. I am banking on it right now. It looks like Bobby Labonte is the only car out of the race, by the way, until that other car that just blew up. No word of a caution yet. Biffle might be within just one more stop to the finish by pitting now as well. Oh, man, didn't get the caution he was hoping for. Now he can go even longer on fuel, but he's the only car a lap down, so if he got a yellow, then he'd get the free pass. I was banking on there being a caution, and I was like, man, if a caution comes out, I'm already on pit road. I can be on the same tires and get the lead, but that did not work out according to plan. That was a big gamble, and it's looking very foolish in hindsight. I mean, there was a wreck in practice that was similar to that, and I thought, well, they're going into the cave. That did not work, and Biffle's kind of trapped on these fresh tires right now, unfortunately. Well, this is the case because there's a whole line of traffic in front of Biffle. We're going to have our second and final field pass of the race when we get to the start-finish line this time by. Ryan Newman has taken the lead away from Junior that really 2 laps ago, and so the first laps that Ryan Newman has now led in this race. I don't think it costed me the race. I mean, everybody else is going to have to pit again. Mark Martin in 20th right now. 90 laps to go. That's a pretty good move by Martin in the chicane. Being side by side, going for a pass. Makes another one in the cave on Casey Mears after getting around Casey Kane just before that, and Martin's up to 17th. It's like Ferrari messed. I always see that about Ferrari being terrible with pit stops in F1. I don't watch Formula 1. Yeah, that strategy wasn't great. I still think we can make it on one more stop to the finish, so I don't think it's terrible. Everybody else will probably have to pit twice, and we'll only have to pit once, is what I'm thinking. So if it stays green long enough, which we're on a long green flag run as it is right now, I think it'll still work out, and we have even fresher tires. Problem is Biffle's in traffic right now, so that's why I'm letting the AI kind of do the work. I was trying to squeeze Mark Martin on the front stretch. Martin going pretty low, going to look to make the dive into turn 1 on Busch. Feel very spaced out mid-pack where Martin's at right now as he makes a pass for 16th on Kyle Busch. Making it work. You know, 150 laps at this track actually isn't that long because we're still a little less than an hour into this race. And we're going to be halfway in about another 12 laps. On a 2-hour race potentially today. Could slow down a bit more if we see more yellows, but right now, again, only 2 of them. Size E, thanks for tuning in. was actually Mayfield that Martin passed a couple laps ago, because now he's working on Casey Kane. See if he can get around the 9 car for 15th. A big block by Kane, and he almost turned himself. And Martin's going to get by on the outside. That was a big block by Casey Kane that did not pan out. He made a great save, though, really showing off that dirt racing background. He was pretty far sideways in an opposite direction than what he'd be used to in a sprint car. And we'll go to Matt Kenseth in the 17 car next, while he rides in the 4th place position. Who knows, maybe we can get Kenseth up towards the front of the field here. Newman not really pulling away from Dale Jr. right now. And how about Elliott Sadler tied for the points lead? Just won the most recent race in that Coca-Cola 600. Got that first crown jewel win of his career. And now sitting 3rd in the early going. Both the Robert Yates Fords, though, being in the top 10 right now and being tied for the points lead. What a season. And really a dream start for that organization. For 2005 especially. Maybe in the 90s, somewhat obtainable, but mid-2000s, it's amazing what they're doing right now. Kenseth with a big moment. Ended up kissing the guardrail just a bit. Kind of straightened it back out. Cost him just a slight bit of time, but not over really too much. Tyler Burback, thanks for tuning in tonight also. Action track, yeah. And NASCAR said they were going to be doing some bold things to the schedule. Couple years. 2024 is what they're shooting at, so maybe they will race in the Grand Canyon. Anything's possible at this point. Kenseth is closed in behind Elliott Sadler. Will draft behind him on the main straightaway. 1.3 seconds off the lead. A 54.155 was that last lap for Kenseth, his fastest lap of the day. Kenseth has not won a points race, but he did win a dual race at Daytona earlier this season. We've had 7 different winners already in 10 races. Dale Jr. has not won yet. Kenseth has not won yet. They're 2nd and 4th. Newman and Sadler each have 1 win. And, of course, Newman the only Dodge to go to victory lane this season. And trying to do it a 2nd time already. And I think he's actually furthest behind in points of those with the win. I think he was 17th in the standings coming into the race today. Kenseth having a hard time trying to get around Elliott Sadler right now. Really pitching it in. He got a bit loose on entry, which is going to cost his corner exit speed just a bit. And he'll have to drop back in line behind Sadler again. Sadler cuts down simultaneously as well. Kenseth in turn 1, taking a peek under Sadler. Sadler not giving Kenseth a whole lot of room. And Kenseth into the S is trying to hold on. Got a bit sideways again, pressuring Elliott Sadler. Gets alongside of him. Good clean battle for 3rd place. And after a hard-fought battle, Kenseth is up to P3. Highest he has been in the running order now tonight. And trying to run down Dale Jr. and Ryan Newman, who are battling for the lead once again. Jr. closed in those last couple laps on the 12. And Kenseth's closing in as they go through the cave and heading towards that final corner this time by Dale Jr. with a lot lower of an arc into the corner than Newman. Newman quite a bit wide, left a lot of bottom open, but Jr. couldn't get underneath him. 2 more laps with Matt Kenseth, the 53.917 that last lap. Fastest of the day for Kenseth. Looking low underneath Dale Jr. through turn 1, side by side for 2nd place. And Kenseth will back out of the gas now. He doesn't want to lose stability of his car in turns 2 and 3, which he struggled with. Got a bit of wheel spin as he tried to pick the throttle back up into turn 4, side by side again with Dale Jr. as they head for the chicane. It's going to get narrow. Oh, Jr.'s going to go up the middle. 3 wide. Oh, and almost nearly wrecked. As there was contact between Kenseth and Earnhardt, Newman holds on to the lead. Kenseth and Jr. did a great job hanging onto their car. Jr. tried to go up the middle, 3 wide. through the chicane, and that did not work. Kenseth almost into the barrier at the front of pit road. He's sideways trying to catch his car now on the front stretch as he was trying to evade at the very last second, and he just missed Ryan Newman and missed the front entrance to that pit road tire barrier, and Newman's going to have about a 1.2 second lead now, but that could have been a catastrophic accident for Kenseth, and now he's side by side for second with Sadler as Junior pit that last time by after losing the battle to the 17. A little battle for the lead going on right now. We'll see if Newman pits this time. Kenseth will stay out. If he does, then Matt Kenseth will pick up his first lap led of the race, which will not be that time as Ryan Newman will stay out again. We'll go to the 97. We'll go to Carl Edwards next instead. I was going to go to Kurt Busch. We'll go to Edwards instead. I think he is already pit. Edwards currently in 32nd and still in the lead lap as he has hit pit road. Once everybody cycles through, Greg Biffle will be back on the lead lap in the 16. A little loose. Going into the chicane that time for the 99. So we have 4 laps with Edwards. When we get to the start-finish line this time by, and then we'll have a handful of laps with Kurt Busch. Busch just came into the pit, so we didn't have a chance to race as him. Greg Biffle's hitting pit road again, which is a bit concerning because he pitted not that long ago. Like lap 58, he hit pit road. Edwards underneath of the 29 of Kevin Harvick in turn 1. Harvick trying to side draft the 99 back in turn 2. Edwards trying to get away from that side draft, and now he'll clear Kevin Harvick in 3. And he'll try to keep the block onto the bottom of the track in turn 4. I don't know what happened to Biffle. I don't think he pit, but for whatever reason, he had the red X there for a brief moment. I thought for a second he might have DNF'd, which would have been terrible. That would have been the 4th one already in the first 11 races. It would have been the 3rd engine failure. It was a false alarm. Newman's still out on the track. Mark Martin's still in the pits. Kenseth hasn't hit pit road yet from what I've seen. I wonder if you can't switch to him in certain areas of the track, because we're seeing some X's over Kurt Busch again. I don't know what's going on back there. Second time I've seen an X over Kurt Busch in recent laps. I think Dale Jr. is the car in front of Carl Edwards that Edwards is closing in on. 53.915 that last lap for the 99. I called those the red X's. Now Kenseth's pitting. Newman will pit with them. We'll see who's going to cycle to the lead. Dale Jr. wasn't that far behind the leader, so Edwards has gained quite a bit of time during the green flag pit stops by short pitting. Kenseth, I believe, just led his first lap of the race while on pit road. And this could be a battle for the lead between Carl Edwards and Dale Jr. here before long. 2 more laps with Edwards yet, until we switch to Kurt Busch. Big run by Edwards into this finishing corner as he gets alongside Earnhardt. There's contact. Edwards slides, and oh no, he's on pit road. Oh, contact with Dale Jr. Edwards went for a slide. He saved it, but had to go to pit road to save it. We're just going to abort. Not even going to make a stop here. Risk Edwards losing any more time than he already lost. Wow. That was a great save, but had to go into the pits to miss it. Did a great job not speeding when he hit pit road also. He dove pretty deep into the corner, and that contact got him sideways. Man, oh man. And now back in 25th is Carl Edwards. Mark Martin's had the Red X for a while. I wonder if he may be out of the race. Side by side in front of Edwards. Through the chicane for Brian Vickers. Kenny Wallace. Not a lot of room there. Vickers blocking Edwards. Edwards just knocked Vickers into Kenny Wallace. One more lap will go to Kurt Busch. Oh, big contact into turn one. Edwards into the back of the 0-0. Can't make the pass going into turn two. A little contact with the 0-0 though. Both cars hanging on as they battle hard for position. Hard into the chicane. Edwards gaining some of this time back. He obviously had a quick car. Ryan Newman cycled back to the lead following the green flag stops. Greg Biffle should be back on the lead lap now in the 16 car. He's somewhere in this traffic. We're short pitting a couple times. Ryan Newman is the man to beat right now, and we'll go to Kurt Busch for the last time in the race today. I think Mark Martin is out of the race, though. I think. Kurt Busch in 13th. I think Kenseth's the only Roush car in the top 10 right now. They were all doing pretty good earlier except for Martin. Now Martin's out of the race. He was finally getting up there too. He was about 14th the last we had. Ran with the 6. Yeah, 4 more laps with Busch when we get to the start-finish line here. We'll go to Greg Biffle the rest of the race. We just hit halfway the last time by. I don't know what to look for you guys for a trivia question tonight, because I do want to get a trivia question out for you guys, but with this being a fantasy track, I'm not sure exactly what I could ask. So if I think of something within the next handful of laps, then I'll pause and try to look up an answer. If not, we might have to skip it tonight. I'll try to get you guys covered during that live commentary stream tomorrow. Try to make up for it. Pretty good race tonight, though. At the Devil's Canyon. Wow, 53.901 ran by Kurt Busch that last lap. Fastest lap for any of the Roush cars so far this evening. A little bit past the halfway mark. Here in Arizona. The Cup Series of Real Life will be racing in this state. Not this track. This is not a track. Will not be racing at the Grand Canyon. A few hours south, though. Out in the desert. Big closing right into the chicane for Kurt Busch on the 9 of Casey Kane. Looking for that undercut move to try to cross Kane over. Kane overdrives the corner in the dirty air behind the 21 of Rudd, and Kurt Busch is going to make the pass on Casey Kane, trying to crowd him a bit. Still side by side. He's getting a little bit of help from drafting off the back of the 21. Now he'll pull up clear and block Kane down to the bottom into turn 1. Busch to the inside of Rudd for 11th. Door to door are the 21 and the 97 now through turn 2. Into 3. How about that out of Kurt Busch? I see Greg Biffle just up ahead. Stuck in traffic right now. We'll see if Biffle's still a lap down. Or thought he's on the lead lap, but I guess not. One more lap with Busch as we hit lap 80 at the start-finish line. Wow, 53.862 that last lap for Busch, as if the lap before wasn't quick. That was way quicker. I didn't think we'd be seeing lap times like that tonight. This is a very fast 2-mile road course. You're almost consistently over 100 miles an hour all the way around this track. No heavy braking zones. It's Kurt Busch trying to make a pass. And Biffle is not for position, which is kind of concerning. Just driving as Biffle. Kurt Busch is trying to get by Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car. He'll do just that. Now wheels to the inside of Dale Jarrett. Will contact in turn 7. Same spot Edwards had a problem making contact with Dale Jr. Dale Jarrett. Kurt Busch make a bit of contact, but Kurt is going to be up tonight. And we'll go back to Greg Biffle for the rest of the race now. Kurt just ran another fastest lap, I believe, that last lap. I didn't see what the time was, though. 38th, 1 lap down for Greg Biffle. I think for some reason he pitted. I'm trying to figure out why he is a lap down. I'm thinking that for whatever reason, when we had that most recent field pass, he pitted with the rest of the field. It shouldn't have been the case. He's going to have to make up a full lap. He's fast, but I don't think he's that fast. He does have Jimmy Johnson around him. I was half tempted to turn him, but I don't know if I'd get my lap back if I did that, though. So I'll save my payback on Johnson. I'll save it for another day. Or maybe later in the race under the right circumstances. We'll see. Michael Turner, Wade Zielinski, thanks for tuning in, guys. Biffle heavy braking into the corner under Dale Jarrett. A bit of contact. Pass is made. Oop. Up against the guardrail. And up against Kurt Busch. Yikes. This Biffle definitely getting extra desperate right now to make these passes. He's got the fastest car in the field. Looks like they fixed that damage on the right rear corner panel when he did come back into the pits. Makes a pass on the 0 of Bliss. Well, almost. Bliss got a side draft. Greg Biffle. Biffle staying extra low. Dive bombs into turn 1, kind of locked those front tires up a bit, but still got the car to turn as he clears Bliss off the exit of the corner and heading into turn 2. He'll stay clear. Mike Bliss, again, trying to go for 9 straight top 10 finishes as he comes in just 5 points out of first and 4th in the standings. Keeps slowly chipping away. Crazy part is he went from like 20 points out of first to 5 and still lost 2 spots in points. That's how tight the standings are right now. Sadler with the win and Gordon with his first top 5 of the season were able to surpass Bliss, who I think finished like 10th place, I believe. Didn't have a bad race by any means. Sometimes even top 10s just aren't good enough. I don't think Bliss is complaining by any means. If you would have told me Dale Jarrett, Elliott Sadler, Mike Bliss would be in the top 4 in points after 10 races, I would have said you're crazy. That would never happen. Even in a video game, some things are possible. Greg Biffle trying to get by Kevin Harvick as they went side by side through the chicane. Biffle on the outside. And he is going to pass Kevin Harvick. That just goes to show how strong this 16 car is. That he was able to make that move and made it look easy. Still have a decent ways to go in this race. I'm not counting myself out of it. I don't think we're going to stay caution-free to the end. If we actually go caution-free 121 laps to the finish, I'd be shocked, but on any road course to go that long without a caution, let alone At a fantasy road course like this where we saw those 2 early yellows the way they happened. Ideally, if Biffle could get back on the lead lap before a caution came out, he'd have a chance to maybe go off strategy again. Try to back the corner up to get by Tony Stewart. Slid the rear tires just a slight bit, but he's going to stay underneath Stewart and make a clean pass on him in that final corner. No, nobody's flipped off the canyon yet. Biffle the big block on Stewart on the front stretch. Tony with a big run in the draft. Biffle locking those rear tires up that time into turn 1 as he slid them. Just a tad. Pushing extra hard. I wonder what a flip would look like at this track. I mean, we had a couple blowovers at Charlotte in the 600. I wouldn't doubt that we couldn't have one at speeds on the front stretch here, heading towards turn 1. Oh, that'd be terrible considering there's no catch fence. That'd be going right into the crowd. Those seats are up pretty high. That would still be dangerous. Honestly, with these guardrails, I can see somebody going through the wall. These look like just your standard guardrails on the side of a cliff, I guess. Like what you're seeing here would be kind of like in real life, but well, we have cars racing between those guardrails on the top and bottom. I think Matt Kenseth is in second right now, just ahead of Elliott Sadler. Dale Jr. cycled out of the pits to 4th, even though he was like the first one of them to pit. Greg Biffle not that far away from getting back on the lead lap as he passes Earnhardt for position. Elliott Sadler trying to go for second on Matt Kenseth. Not quite going to happen. Sadler going a bit wide. Kenseth trying to block Sadler through the chicane. Biffle's got a run on both of them. Pretty equal tires right now for the 16 versus the rest of the field. So him being this fast, probably getting the hang of it. And he's having a lot better job of passing cars compared to earlier. Definitely feels like the stability's there versus the other Roush Fenway Fords. Big run the draft right now for Elliott Sadler. Kenseth's going to throw the block on the outside, and that's going to leave the bottom open into turn 1. He tries to cut down to block his teammate. He's got to be careful. He's not battling Biffle for position. He's battling Sadler. Biffle slides the tires towards that guardrail. Making a little contact with it. And he's going to hang on and get by Matt Kenseth. The Sadler is going to be opening up that inside lane into the chicane now, trying to outbrake the 17. And Biffle trying to get back on the lead lap. Definitely in the free pass position. Slides those rear tires just a bit. Ryan Newman arrival running in the back of Biffle in that opening caution of the race. Just a few laps in, so this is not going to be an easy pass by any means for Biffle on the 12. Halfway out of fuel at lap 89 this point in the run. It's a one-stopper to the finish. Newman with a block, gets the bump from behind by Biffle. A little bump, now can Biffle get the run? Newman gonna body check Greg Biffle. Did not give him any room there. Biffle back alongside the 12. And clear. Greg Biffle back on the lead lap at the Devil's Canyon. Locking those tires up going into the chicane as he's trying to pull away from the 12. So Newman leads. Biffle has the fastest car on the racetrack, and he still has 62 laps to try to make up a lap. Trying to pull off a Bill Elliott Talladega-style comeback here. Instead of 2 laps down, it'd be 1 lap down, but on a road course, we'll see if he can do it under green flag conditions, just like Elliott did at Talladega in the 80s on green flag conditions. "54 seconds is an awfully long time. If he can gain some time on those final stops as well, he's definitely got to pit for tires because he's burning them up quite a bit. Locking them up every so often. I do think it's obtainable, though. Knowing these aren't the tires you're going to the end, you're definitely pushing hard on these. And even if it was a run to the finish, you'd want to also. Don't want to leave anything left on the table in the situation Biffle's in. If you're leading, trying to save tires would be one thing, but not when you're trying to get back into this. It's kind of upsetting because I don't think Biffle's going to have much of a shot to lead the most laps today. At least the way things are looking right now. Looking at only leading about 30 laps, maybe a little less than that. Ryan Newman's led for quite some time now. Even Dale Jr. led for quite a bit before Newman took the lead away from him. Kenseth might have led 1 lap during green flag pit stop, so I think we're only sitting at 5 different leaders because Rookie Rudd led the first few laps of the race as well. 5 different leaders in this race through 92 laps at the start-finish line for Ryan Newman this time by. So he's now on lap 93. Biffle definitely going for broke. Be back-to-back poor finishes for Mark Martin as well, because he ended up finishing outside the top 30 in the Coke 600 as he ended up finishing a couple laps down in that race. Couple of bad timing cautions in the middle of green flag pit stops. Trapped Martin multiple laps down. This rear tire sliding out in turn 2 again just a bit. Next race of the Cup Series season on NASCAR 6 will be at Michigan. Back to a normal racetrack on an oval. In the GFS Marketplace 400, 200 lap event, 400 mile race at MIS. Another track that I'm not too consistent at on this game. We'll alternate through the different camera angles one more time in today's race. Next, probably 16 laps or so, and we'll go back to the far chase cam for the finish after this. Biffle does not want to leave anything left on this table. It's going to be harder to get through dense traffic. I'm really hoping it stays green for a while. If we do see a caution, I hope it's somewhat later in the race. Or at least after final pit stops. Elliott Sadler, by the way, just took the race lead away from Ryan Newman, so this is going to be the first lap Sadler's led. Can Elliott Sadler win back-to-back races? 2 very different racetracks, a 1.5 mile oval and then a fantasy road course, but it is possible. It's Sadler giving everybody a run for their money as he's trying to take the points lead all alone for himself for the first time this year, as he's tied with his teammate Jarrett coming in. Still quite a bit of clean air in front of Biffle right now as well. Won't be getting into any sort of heavy lap traffic anytime soon. Continuously putting up some of his fastest laps of the race for himself. Less than 48.5 seconds off the lead now. Considering he was a lap down, he is gaining quite a bit of time. And he was right around the 10th, 11th place race cars when we first swapped back to him. After that second field pass when we were around Kurt Busch yet. Jimmy Johnson, the back half of the top 10. Way Too Cool X6 for tuning in. Appreciate the comment as well. Yeah, 18 likes on the stream right now. I think we had 22 last night. We'll see if we can get above that. I think we definitely can. Still have a little over 50 laps to go yet. Kind of fitty we're racing at the Devil's Canyon on Halloween weekend. Spooky season is here. And in full gear. Well, except for the fact I'm not dressed up, but it's not Halloween yet. Just the weekend of it. Got a couple days yet. 53.976 that last lap for Biffle, so he's still running some good lap times. Anytime you're in the 53s, pretty good. I didn't think we'd see lap times like that today anyway. And saw some 53.8s by some of the other Roush cars in the field. Biffle doesn't quite have as much straightaway speed as some of those other guys. Got really close to the guardrail that time. He's trying to use every crevice of asphalt possible when making these tight corners. Without hitting the guardrail, of course. Being more aggressive right now is going to pay off a bit more than if he was actually racing somebody and risking making potential contact with him. We are coming up on 50 laps to go, though, very, very soon. Yeah, our trick or treat in the town I live in is on Sunday. Which I find it weird. Like, if you're going to do it on a night where most people are going to have to work the next morning, why don't you just do it on Halloween? Doesn't make sense to me. I don't plan this stuff, but it just doesn't make sense to me. $50 laps to go at the start-finish line. Yeah, thanks for popping in. Way Too Cool. $50 to go. With our driver, Greg Biffle. 44.5 seconds off the race lead still from Elliott Sadler. He's got a ways to go, but still ways to go in this race. I think the pace he's running, he'll get there if there was no cars he had to pass. Really hoping that his pit crew is going to have a fast pit stop when that window opens up to the end of the race, which won't be too far from now. what was originally a 3-stop race for Biffle's turned into a 4-stop race with that extra stop in this green flag run, but see if he can make up for it. A strategy error mistake. He's hoping for a caution right away when he hit pit road to cycle back into the lead, assuming everybody else was going to pit during the caution because we were already on a long green flag run, but never got the yellow with that slow car on the racetrack. Everybody was able to miss. I'm glad my eyes were peeled because I feel like I would have ran into the back of him. It was right in turn 1 when he caught the car. Everybody else was kind of catching him as they were going into the cave, and they were able to miss him. So your place did it right, Billy. I could see like having it on a Friday night or Saturday night mostly, but even a Friday to a certain extent if you're not going to have it on actual Halloween. Just because it is a weekend, most people are likely to have off the next day, but still. The fact that you're having it on a weeknight but not Halloween doesn't make much sense. I mean, I'm assuming the reason why is because area towns around me are probably having it on Halloween, but there were very few years I went to multiple trick-or-treats. Mainly because my parents didn't want to walk for a couple extra hours multiple days during the week. Take their kid around. I'm sure they had some, other adult stuff to do at the time. Greg Biffle closing in on Kenny Schrader for position. 38 cars still in this race, and Greg Biffle obviously the last car in the lead lap right now. He's got a run on Schrader into turn 1, squeezes under him, a bit of contact. Biffle had the positioning under the 49 car. It seemed like Schrader just kind of kept moving down. Biffle's got him clear for 37th right now. Biffle getting a little arrow loose with the 49 right behind him, but he hangs on to it. Couple cars side by side just up the way, so Biffle catching at least the rear of the field before pit stops. Made a fairly quick pass on Kenny Schrader. Terry Labonte's one of the cars up here. I can't tell who the other car is that he's racing with. We'll know here shortly. Yeah, ours is 5 to 7, I believe. See, that's another thing, too. It's so weird that it starts in the... I mean, it's pretty much all the daylight. Except for maybe the very end. Like, the last, like, half hour or so. It's almost all in the daylight. I don't know. Like I said, I don't make up... Who makes up these crappy Halloween rules? Should be no rules on Halloween. Oh, a little contact. Biffle got blocked by Scott Riggs. Now we've got some smoke just up ahead. Something else potentially happened. And the cave, but no caution there either. Oh, huge wreck right in front of Biffle, and he's got nowhere to go. Oh, man. Somebody crushed the tire barrier coming into the pits. And there's a massive crash. Jamie McMurray, Jeff Green ricocheted off the back bumper of McMurray's car. Biffle hit Green in the driver's side door. Another car went spinning. I believe Terry Labonte ended up in the inside wall. Flames out of the back of the 42, it looked like. A massive crash. A caution is out for the third time, and Biffle had nowhere to go, and his car is totaled. I mean, absolutely totaled. And we've got some split strategy. It seems like some drivers are pitting and some are staying out. That was just an untimely place to be. I mean, you want to talk about wrong place at the wrong time. Those cars at the tail end of the field had nowhere to go. I think McMurray was trying to pit, and he ended up just hitting the tire barrier at the front of pit road. And Jeff Green was right behind him. The hood came off the 16 car, and the deck lid ended up off the rear bumper by quite a few inches as well. Probably a couple feet up off the back bumper of the race car. Massive crash. There's a lot of damage on the 16. He's lucky to be running, but I jammed on the brakes immediately when I saw McMurray hit the tire barrier, but then the 43 ricocheted up the track right in front of me, and I think I got hit from behind too. I mean, there was just no way of stopping before making contact. But this is going to be interesting, though, because we've got some cars pitting. Some are staying out thinking they can't make it on field to the end. So maybe a potential fuel mileage race now. Green flag back in the air. Biffle up to 24th. He did gain some spots on pit road with that 4-tire stop, even repairing damage. But how damaged is this car? Is it as fast as it once was? Because before he was the fastest car. Maybe not so much anymore. But the green flag is back in the air as he tries to hold off Kevin Harvick on the inside. Green trying to go to the outside of the 29. Harvick stays in front of him into turn 2. And how is this all going to play out now? Heavy traffic, mid traffic, with damage already on the 16s. Got to be careful. Tim Irvin, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, no one flipped in that, but that almost looked like the Brickyard. What year was that? 2017? When Clint Boyer crashed like right in that area. He hit the tire barrier and ricocheted back into Kurt Busch. That's what that looked like. Nobody pitted first lap after the race start. I don't think the drivers that pitted during the caution can make it off field at the end of the race. They're going to have to go 43 laps. 42 laps, rather. That's going to be tough. Contact between Biffle and Schrader, it looked like. Biffle trying to make some moves in these mid-pack cars. Massive, massive train of cars. All single file through the chicane except for Biffle as he tries to get to the inside of Leffler. Gonna definitely have to watch cars pitting every now and then. As soon as we get close to that window opening. A lot of these drivers only have about a quarter tank of gas or less left anyway that stayed out. I'm not sure about the NASCAR Heat 5 update, honestly. I haven't been really keeping up with it. I think they delayed it the last I did see something about it, but I don't know when or how far out they're delaying it. So Elliott Sadler, who was in the lead when the caution came out, held on to the lead following the restart. Craig Biffle making some passes. He's back inside the top 20 and up to 18th. The caution he needed, but I don't know that Biffle's in the right position to win this race right now. Especially with damage. Nice run under Terry Labonte for position. And the 16 car is up to 16th as he crowds, but clears Labonte with a clean pass. Labonte trying to cross him back over on the front stretch. Down under 40 laps to go. Only 3 cautions in tonight's race, but a vicious crash moments ago. Try to run this out to the checker. Biffle's got a run on the 08 of Shane Meal. Meal with a block. A couple of rookies in front of Biffle. Truex also in front of the 08. Biffle might be first of the cars that hit pit road during that caution. Making some more passes. It's by Meal. Back in line on the main straightaway behind Truex to draft off of him. There's definitely still speed in this 16 car. Somehow, some way. I don't know how, but there is speed. He gets to the inside of Truex. Door to door with the 1. Slides those rear tires just a bit. Pass is made for 14th. Sends it into the next corner, trying to get alongside Brian Vickers. Into the chicane they go. Biffle gonna outbreak the 25. Not quite clear yet. Vickers hanging on to that right rear corner panel to 16, but it looks like Biffle's gonna be able to make the pass. For 13th place. It squeezes now underneath Travis Quaffle, who nearly threw a block. Biffle gonna get around him. Trying to crowd him. And now blocking as he's clear. Clean pass for Biffle. Still blocks into turn 1 high and low. And beats Quaffle back to the gas through the shifts. Still quite a bit of side-by-side racing going on up ahead. Biffle's got a run on Jeff Gordon in front of him. Gordon with a good block, though, hangs on. Undercut move by Biffle, trying to get alongside Gordon, and he does. Gordon gonna try to crowd into this final corner. There's contact. Biffle was clearly already there when Gordon moved down. And Biffle's up to 11th. .36 laps to go. I wonder if there might have been cars on pit road when the caution came out. Maybe that's who all stayed out. I wasn't aware on if that is the case or not. Aggressive move by Biffle, 3 wide, heading into the chicane. With Mayfield and Wallace around him. Mayfield luckily cleared Wallace, so they're actually only side by side. It looked like they were going to be 3. They were not, and that's probably why it worked out as well as it did for the 16, and he's up to 9th. Pass is made correctly. Mike Bliss trying to get that 9th straight top 10. He's going to fall back to 9th if Biffle gets around him. Biffle on the inside as they side draft each other. Past the start-finish line, Bliss hangs on. Biffle going to try to outbreak Bliss into turn 1. He's down on the bottom of the 0. Trying to make the pass. Still door-to-door. And a block into turn 2 as Biffle is all clear. Still blocking the 0 all the way to the apron. Nice clean pass, and can't say Mike Bliss didn't fight for that one. Just getting those rear tires just a bit into the chicane as he closes on the 48 of Johnson, who he had a run-in with. Johnson had run-in with pretty much every Roush car, it seemed, in the 600. Biffle can't pull alongside Johnson through that final corner. Pretty much the entire top 8 nose to tail right now, all within 1.3 seconds of the race lead. Biffle darts into turn 1. Under the 48, got a little loose. A little too low on entry that time. Oh, contact between the 48 and the 16. Gotta be careful here. Biffle's fine if he uses up the 48 a bit. And he is going to pass him for 7th. Underneath Kenseth, his teammate now. Newman defending for 2nd on Stewart. Edwards going a bit wide. Biffle to the inside of the 99, and Greg Biffle, after that vicious accident, is resilient enough to get this car up to 6th. And there's still 33 laps to go. Stewart on the inside of Newman right now for 2nd. Biffle to the inside of Edwards into turn 1 for 5th. This car, though, going to be quick enough to pull away once he gets to the lead. And can he still get there with no problems? Biffle lurking on Earnhardt for 4th. Into the chicane. Biffle Slides in line perfectly. Newman trying to block, and he about turned himself into the outside wall. Oh man, that was a terrible block by Newman, and Junior's going to get around him for fourth. Biffle slides the tires into turn 7 as he's up to third, and Stewart with a block on the front stretch. Newman upset with Biffle, but I thought that was all Newman. Biffle was on the outside. It looked like the 12 moved up right across his front bumper. Stewart, after passing Newman before Biffle got up there, Stewart's now trying to get by the 38 of Elliott Sadler, and he may have a shot at it. Into the chicane, nose to tail are the top 3. Stewart potentially pulling out of line here. Biffle with the undercut move, trying to get underneath Tony Stewart. Not going to be able to. This was where it gets more tougher to pass as you get further and further up through the running order, especially on that 38 car who's got the clean air advantage. Tony Stewart right now to the outside. Biffle up to draft behind the 20 of Stewart. Elliott Sadler going to try to throw the block on the outside. Stewart trying the undercut, but Biffle's already there on the bottom in turn 1. Biffle slides those rear tires, barely kept it off the guardrail. Still alongside Tony Stewart for second. Sadler trying to hold both lanes up. 30 to go, this time by. Biffle up to second as he gets by Tony Stewart, and now trying to get by the 38 of Sadler, is trying to win back-to-back races and get to the points lead by himself for the first time this year. Came in tied with his teammate Dale Jarrett. And now we're side-by-side for the lead between Greg Biffle and Elliott Sadler. And Greg Biffle, after wrecking, being a lap down, is back in the race lead with just 30 laps to go. And a block on Sadler past the start-finish line. What a resilient effort from the 16. Sadler looking low. Into turn 1. Can't get there. Biffle holds on. Biffle just overdrove the corner. Oh, that was a terrible set of corners through turns 2 and 3. And Sadler's going to try the outside, but Biffle with a block. That was a bad block by Biffle. He's all over the place. Oh, Sadler got loose and then got into the 16. Biffle hangs onto it, and Sadler's back in the lead. I saw the 38 car move quite a bit. He moved around a lot. It looked like he skirted the front tires before making contact with Biffle. They all hang on to it, and we continue to stay green with 29 to go this time by. We've got to fight for the lead, ladies and gentlemen. Mark Martin was the Roush car that DNF'd earlier, by the way. So somebody just asked that. Well, Biffle's got a little catching up to do. 29 to go. We still don't know that everybody can make it upfield to the end, but we'll see. Locking those tires up again. Putting it all on the line right now as he tries to run Elliott Sadler down. Big run into the chicane. And it looks like they're going to be side by side for the lead. Biffle on the outside. Not going to work. Going to be on the outside into this next corner as he slides the tires again. The undercut move off the exit. Door to door. 38-16. Biffle not aggressively going to side draft here. Probably should have. Sadler holding on. Biffle still pressing. He's using a lot of his tires up at this point in the run, though. Got a little loose. Trying to keep it off the 38. Somehow did, as loose as he was. And he's still side by side for the lead. Nobody giving an inch into the chicane. Sadler aggressively side drafting the right rear corner panel to 16. Biffle sends it and passes Sadler in the cave. Sadler on the undercut. Not going to get there, and Biffle back in the lead once again. 27 laps to go still this time by. What a fight for the finish. Martin just blew an engine. Didn't get in a wreck. Sadler trying the outside. Almost got there. Biffle actually had to move up to try to keep him behind. Sadler getting the 16, a little arrow loose. Trying to rattle his cage. Intimidate him. Biffle not budging. Great battle going on right now. Can Biffle run the right laps to finally start to pull away? It's kind of what you have to be wondering at this point. Great set of corners coming to the end of that lap. 26 to go. A little over half a second lead now and a little less pressure for Greg Biffle. I wonder if there's still a chance Biffle could lead the most. I didn't think he was going to get back to the lead as quickly as he did. Just got to hope he can make it on fuel now. I'm starting to think they can, because I think drivers that stayed out might have been on pit road when the caution came out. And that's why they were able to still cycle out ahead. And Biffle's pit crew did a great job. Even with repairing damage, they still gained him about a dozen spots on pit road. It's a great stop. Yeah, we'll know if I clinch the most laps. At least my crew chief will let me know, but definitely no sign of that right now. Or will there be? First third of the race, Biffle was leading quite a few. Well, Biffle's out to a 1.1 second lead at the start-finish line. We'll try to alternate through the different camera angles again as we didn't finish that second and final time. Down to just 24 laps to go. The Tumbleweed 300 at the Devil's Canyon. And a 1 second lead right now for Greg Biffle over Elliott Sadler. Who will manage their tires better on a potential long green flag run to the end? It would be a 42 lap green flag run to the finish. It would be the second longest green flag run of the day. Our longest stretched about 80 laps. This would be about half that. Starting to think that these guys should be able to make it on field to the end. Again, should. No guarantees. You know what I think the good luck is that I had Subway for lunch today at work. And we've got the Subway paint scheme tonight. I didn't even think about that till just now. It took me 128 laps out of 150 to remember I actually had Subway for lunch today. Maybe that's the good luck Biffle needed to try to get back to his winning ways this season. Be another win for Ford this year, too. Even if Biffle doesn't win against Sadler's in second, we're going to go back-to-back for Robert Yates and for Ford there as well. Again, we have had a couple accidents today. Jamie McMurray, coincidentally, has been involved in 2 of them. Yeah, I'll be watching the Red Wings and Michigan State game tonight. Red Wings are playing the Wild. I'll be flipping it back and forth. We'll be back live tomorrow afternoon for live commentary of the race tomorrow. Favorite Subway sandwich? Usually chicken bacon ranch, but with chipotle sauce instead of ranch. But I will say, though, I have been eating a lot of the tuna. It seems like I haven't actually been to Subway in a while until... Oof, man. About looped it in turn 2. The tire's not holding up very well. I'd like to go hard, though, to go from 24th to 1st on that restart. Does he have anything left? I get spicy Italian from time to time, too. But it's kind of like a rotation between those three. But my favorite is probably chicken bacon ranch. We've got 19 likes on the stream, 20 laps to go. We're only 4 likes away from beating the amount of likes we had on our NASCAR 22 Dirt Bristol race last night. So, be sure to hit that like button if you have not already for this stream. And then again, tune in tomorrow. Subscribe first if you haven't already as well. And then tune in tomorrow for our live commentary stream. The Martinsville Cup race. So we'll have a few hundred in the chat at least, like we do every weekend for those. Upwards of 1,000 on one occasion this year in that Texas playoff race. That was a cable race, so this is a big NBC race, so I don't know if we're pulling those numbers necessarily tomorrow, but chat and watch along though with a lot of other people. It's a fun time. 19 laps to go. Biffle continues to lead. And it's pretty much his race to lose if it stays green at this point. He's going to make it on field to the end. Hasn't even hit halfway out of gas yet. And we restart with over 38 laps to go. So Biffle's going to be, no matter what, good on fuel even if he's low at the end. Don't have to worry about going past the scheduled distance, so Greg Biffle definitely going to be good on fuel. He's just hoping it stays green to the finish at this point. He's only had one restart from the lead today, but he was able to hold on successfully, so it'll be interesting to see if he'd be able to do that again under those circumstances if we get another late caution. Knocking those tires up into turn 1 just a bit. I want to save these tires just a little bit as well in case we do get that late caution. As I say that, we're fishtailing. I fishtailed so much in turn 2 throughout the course of the race, though, compared to like every other corner on the track. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some other good subs I've tried, like the meatball or even like a Philly cheesesteak, but not really a Philly cheesesteak, but just a steak and cheese. I used to eat the egg whites for breakfast all the time. Used to get an egg white muffin melt on a flatbread. We need to start a petition to bring back the Italian herb and cheese bread. Because when I went back, it tells you a while. I guess it got discontinued like 3 months ago. I had no clue about it. That was pretty much the last time I was at Subway. I say Subway. Subway. It is spooky season, so maybe it is Subweb. Let's talk about food. I'm getting hungry right now. I want to get to the end of this race so I can eat. Eat, watch some football. Be ordering some pizza tonight. It's gonna be a good time. I don't know why I drove that low. It actually worked. Surprised I didn't slide. I'd agree. Subway definitely good for breakfast. I just haven't had it for breakfast in a while. I have one in my town, but I just never think to go there for breakfast. Maybe I'll consider it here soon. Oh, wow, that was a moment. I kind of felt the car getting loose before it actually got loose that time. Elliott Sadler's closed it in, by the way. It's down to 1.3 seconds. It was about 2.1 seconds a few laps ago. These tires are wearing out on Biffle's race car quite a bit this run with having to restart 24th on that most recent restart. He's using his stuff up to get to where he's at and get his lead. Got to focus and dial in here. And not let this thing get overly close to the end if he could help it. 15 laps to go still around this 2-mile road course. And there it is. Radioed in from the crew chief from Greg Biffle that he has just led the most laps today, or at least clinched the most laps led. So that'll be a 10 bonus point performance for Greg Biffle here tonight, despite the middle portion of the race being very rough for him and not being on the right side of the strategy and that ill-timing caution earlier. But he has come from a lap down, and now he is, again, back in the lead. Took it away about a dozen laps ago and got out to a 2.1 second lead. Now just kind of trying to sit on it at this point. He knows he's not going to be as fast at this point in the run and on these older tires as he once was. Trying to make this 42-lap green flag run to the checker. Very meaningful to get that 4th win of the year and end the 7-race losing skid. Off the heels of that Coke 600 DNF as well, this would be a big win to get him back in the top 10 in points. This is a season-long points format. We're going to be a third of the season, through a third of the season after the Michigan race next week. It's going to be another road course win for Greg Biffle as well. Maybe the road course king this season. 3 of his 4 wins would be on a road course or a street course, assuming he wins this one today. The only non-road course win was at Martinsville. Under the lights in that 3rd race of the season. Yet to win under an intermediate or super speedway. We'll have Daytona in a couple races as well with the Pepsi 400. Blood, thanks for tuning in. 13 to go. Still a 1.3 second lead. Sadler and Biffle have been even the last 2 laps. Sadler gained a couple tenths in turn 1. He definitely was braking a lot later into the corner than Biffle. Biffle, I feel his car getting a little loose right now. Those rear tires burned up quite a bit at this point in the run. He's just trying to keep the car straight. What a streak for Elliott Sadler. Beat 3 straight top 3 finishes for him. If he finishes where he's at, he's trying to, again, go for back-to-back wins. On a mile and a half in a road course. A fantasy road course, again, at that. And Sadler's had a great performance. He's led a lot of laps today and pretty much been top 10 all day. Top 5 all day. Biffle sliding those rear tires again in turn 2. That trouble corner for him on the racetrack today. Mainly turn 2, but it sometimes pulls towards turn 3 as well. If he gets a little too loose towards the exit of turn 2, where turn 3 could be trouble for him. That was a great lap, though, despite the handling mishap in turn 2. Wasn't much of a mishap. He kept it under whatever control he could. Extends that lead to 1.9 seconds at the line, a 54.120. I'm not sure what the laps he was running before that, but maybe Sadler made a mistake that caused Biffle to pull away maybe just a bit more as well. It could be possible. I mean, Sadler gained a lot of time in turn 1, but lost that time elsewhere around the track. We'll have just 10 laps to go this time by. We have had at least 5 cautions in every race this year, and despite the 2 early wrecks in the first 26 laps on that vicious accident where we didn't see a debris caution after the fact with just over 40 laps to go, and we are sitting at just 3 cautions in this race today. And unless we had a yellow and then a yellow immediately after the restart, it's going to be the least amount of cautions we have had in a race this season. Down to 10 to go, so if a caution comes out, we will have a single file restart. I don't think there's anybody a lap down anyway. But if there is anybody a lap down, they'll be at the tail end of the field. It will not be a factor at the front of the field, at least for the finish. A little slideways again. Still sitting at a 2-second lead. Yeah, see, he got a little loose that time in turn 3. Loose as fast if he can hang on to it. He's still hanging on to it, keeping it off that guardrail. And running some clean laps. Everybody good on fuel to the end of the race as well. Doubt we're going to see anybody pit if a caution came out, at least at the front of the field. They'll probably all keep their track position. Especially with probably around 35 or more cars still in the lead lap. Rainer Martinez, thanks for tuning in. Back to the Future is a classic. My sister was watching Back to the Future 2 like a week ago or so on HBO. All 3 movies pretty good in my opinion. Eight laps remain for the Biff. Not a comfortable... I mean, it's comfortable in the sense he doesn't have a whole lot of pressure behind him right now. Still trying to keep his eye on the prize. Touch into the guardrail. It's not going to do great things. Quick recovery, though. One of the few times Biffle's actually hit the guardrail at all in this race today. Still had a pretty decent lap. All things considered. Man, this car is starting to get pretty rough in the handling. This elevation change is definitely not helping either. If we're trying to gather it up, snapped on her pretty quickly in the chicane, especially in that upshifting portion when he was trying to get back into the throttle. Gotta be careful not to be too heavy on the throttle. Sad they're about 2 to 3 tenths of a second quicker than Biffle that last lap. 6 to go still. Another big moment for Biffle. Ended up kissing the guardrail just a bit off the exit of turn 2 on the outside. Five laps to go this time by. Biffle's had the fastest car here today, even with that wreck. Needs to keep the car underneath him. Sadler another 0.2 quicker that lap, 1.4 seconds off the lead. Love these streams, they'll keep me sane during the off-season. For sure. A little more stability that time in turn 2 than the last few laps. Other than that, gas just a little bit in turn 3. Man. Chicane got him that time. 4 to go. Chicane's been one of the best corners or sets of turns for Biffle this entire race. Seems like that's where he's made the most passes. And you know, when he's starting to struggle with that, the handling's really gone away on this number 16. 4 to go. 1.2 second lead, another 0.2 quicker for Sadler that last lap. Up into the guardrail again, and here comes Sadler after another mistake by Biffle. Sadler was putting together a pretty fast first half of the lap right before that as well. Tried to back up turn 2 a little bit more, but the car was still kind of sliding enough that he just kind of cakewalking out the racetrack and made that mistake. 3 laps to go at the start-finish line. The lead is down to 0.4 of a second. Sadler has gained 1.7 seconds in the last 4 laps. Pretty good in turn 1 for Biffle. Pressure's definitely on now, if it wasn't already before. A lot better in turn 2 that time. Keeping control of his race car. Oh, but he fishtails again. And Sadler putting more pressure on. 2 to go this time by. Biffle trying not to blow this. Locks those tires up into turn 7. That was the front tires that time. He's just really pushing. Overall, net time between first and second, Sadler was only a 1/10 quicker that time. But still quicker. We're down to just 2 laps to go. Sadler closing. Back bumper of Greg Biffle. Couldn't find a way around him. Definitely going to need Biffle to make a mistake. Either that or he's just going to have to move him, which he might do as well. Sadler trying to get back-to-back wins. Biffle holds on to it pretty well this entire last lap. Sadler's just quicker at this point. And that's really all it is. And another bit of a slide by Greg Biffle. And he's going to be up in the wall off the exit of the corner, and he's not going to have any good straightaway speed. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go. Here comes Sadler to the outside. Biffle runs into the side of him. He's sideways, trying to stay in the gas. Here comes Tony Stewart in the 20. Big block by Biffle as he holds on to second place. Sadler going to go a little bit wide into turn 2. Biffle held on to the car, and he's trying to fight everything right now. He's just standing on the gas when he needs to. He has no grip. And he's only got a couple more corners to get the 38. He's going to pull along the outside of Elliott Sadler, and they're going to make more contact up the racetrack as they head for the final set of corners. 1 more corner to go. Sadler, Biffle. Biffle slides into the final corner. Door-to-door off the exit. Clear, and Greg Biffle is going to win at the Devil's Canyon by about a half a car length. Jeez, oh Pete, that got a lot closer to what it needed to be. But Biffle fights off Elliott Sadler and Tony Stewart to win. And what was probably the closest finish of the season. I was not expecting that, but Biffle holds on in a dogfight there in those final couple laps. Jeez Louise. Once he got around me going into the first turn on the final lap, I'm like, no, I'm not losing this race. At that point, I threw all clean racing out the window, and I was determined to get the win. And Biffle did. First diesel pizza of the season. That was a sweater. That was definitely a sweater. Big sweater. The striped sweater. Oh man. 3 cautions for 9 caution laps today. Only 12 lead changes, but a few of them there at the final couple laps of the race. 1/10 of a second margin of victory for Greg Biffle over Elliott Sadler. I don't think that's accurate because they were side by side coming to the line. I wasn't worried about trying to throw a late block on the straightaway because I felt like even though I lost the momentum, that Sadler kind of got stalled out a little bit with the contact initially into 7 as well, that he wasn't going to have enough to stay in it. But 66 laps led, though, of 150 for Biffle. He'll get the win, the max points day, and he'll climb back up in the standings. The bad news is that Sadler is the guy he's chasing in points. He was tied for the points lead. Sadler finishes second, also led laps. He led 26 today. Tony Stewart didn't lead a lap, finished third. He was up in the top 5 pretty much all day. Carl Edwards finishes 4th, good run for the rookie, and Matt Kenseth led 1 lap during green flag pit stops. Will finish in 5th. Jimmy Johnson in 6th with no laps led. Jeff Gordon 7th. Mike Bliss, 9 straight top 10s. He finishes 8th today. Ryan Newman finishes 9th after leading 35 laps in the first 2/3 of the race. Kevin Harvick will round out the top 10, finishing in the 10th place position. Junior led 14 laps today, ended up finishing back in 11th. Dale Jarrett, the points leader, or at least tied with Sadler for the points lead, ended up falling back to 17th in the second half of the race. Our other teammate, Kurt Busch, led a lap, finished 20th. And remember, Edwards came back from having to go onto pit road to make a save after racing Dale Jr. at the time for, second place? So, he made a great resilient effort himself. Quite a few DNFs. Bobby Labonte, Greg Quick, Mark Martin, Boris Said, Kyle Busch, Jamie McMurray crashed out. And that was all the drivers that ended up DNFing today. So 6 total, 5 for engine failures, and then McMurray crashed out of the race. Just 2 hours, 36 minutes to get the race in today with just 3 cautions, the least amount of cautions we've had in a race this season. And we get a look at Greg Biffle in victory lane, celebrating with his rookie teammate. 4th win of the season for Biffle through the first 11 races. And going into Michigan, a track where Biffle has won out a bunch of times in his career, in that next race. GFS Marketplace 400, 200 lap event there. And then we go to Speedway Boulevard after that on another best time to wear stripes sweater is the last lap. Yeah, there we go. We're changing the lyrics up a little bit. At least you got my stripes sweater reference. Oh, jeez. Elliott Sadler, 32 points ahead of Jeff Gordon now, who will end up in second. Dale Jarrett went from a tie of the points lead back to 4th. That's how, it was only 5 points separating the top 4 coming into the race, so no wonder 17th place finish with dropping back a few spots, but still only 63 out. Dale Jarrett having a great season thus far still. Greg Biffle's going to move up 4 spots in the standings with that win. He's only 94 out of first now, but only gained 15 points on Sadler with the win today. And now the top 8 are within 1 race worth of points. It was 11 coming into the race, but now only the top 8 are there. Of course, Kurt Busch finished 20th. Bobby Labonte DNF'd. Matt Kenseth still at a top 5, but he was, I think, over 200 points out coming in. So he did gain a little bit of ground, but not a whole lot. Yeah, that's going to wrap things up today. Hit that like button. Again, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. I will see you guys tomorrow. I will be doing live commentary of the NASCAR Cup Series race at Martinsville, and our coverage begins at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you for that one. Our next live stream on the video game side of things will be NASCAR 22 and it'll be at Talladega on Monday. Hope to see you for that one. That will be at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as well. Thanks for watching, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. Go Blue. And, yeah, have a good one.